I know these were already drawn, but just to re-emphasize. So, and so that you've got your chart for sure filled out. So we have hydrogen and hydrogen. We connect them with a bond because there's nothing in the middle when you just have two. And then we've got to make sure that 2 electrons are taken up. I do. I have my 2 there. And so that one is done. So that's a really, really simple one. So in this one, I've got beryllium. I'm going to put chlorine on one side, chlorine on the other. Notice I've got my lines. Now I've got to fill in the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I need to count it up and see if I'm at my 16 here. So I've already lost 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So I've used them all up. And if you like counting down, that may be really helpful for some people so that it's really clear that's how many electrons that there were. I don't count down as well, but 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. So you want to go all the way down to 0. All right, now the next one. So we have B, Cl, Cl, Cl. We've got our lines. It's all drawn. And if you had drawn this more like that, that's actually a very nice way to draw it too. I'll fix one of mine so it looks a little bit more like that. There we go. So now they're like spread apart as far as they can be spread apart. And then we've got these extra dots in there. Got to fill in all the outside ones. Now, we're going to make sure that we've got all 24 of our used. So 24, I'm going to do the countdown just to kind of be clear on it. So 24, 22, 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. So I've used up all my electrons. The last step is you need to be double checking to see if this has the right number. Remember, you want it to have 8, but also remember, boron is an exception and it only fits 6 around there. So the first few examples that I've got on this page, they're the ones that can't quite get up to 8 because might as well mention those now and not later in a way that confuses anyone. All right, so we're going to move on. So carbon, and then lines to bromine. And remember, carbon, it's the first element, but it's also the least electronegative. It's more to the left of bromine. And I'm going to fill this in. So I need to give all of these guys 8. And just as a review, these are lone pairs. Whether they're on the outer atom or on the central atom, it is called a lone pair. These are bonding electrons, and that also contains 2. So everything contains 2. And then I'm going to count these down. So 32, 30, 28, 26, 24, 22, 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Now, I get a little confused sometimes counting backwards by pairs. So again, if you like to just add up everything, like remember I was saying this is 8, this is 8, this is 8, and this is 8, you're cool with that. And you can say 8 times 4 is 32. And yep, I've used up all my electrons. Remember, always check that middle atom though and quadruple check that it for sure has 8 electrons. It does, in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it does for sure have it, but you should always do that check because there are some molecules coming up, of course, that don't play by every single perfect, beautiful rule. All right, so now I'm going to do my nitrogen. So nitrogen, it's got chlorines on the outside. Kind of get them kind of spaced out. And then, here we go. I'm going to do the countdown. So 26, then 24, 22, 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and I still have 2 electrons. Remember, if you've got extra, they go in the middle, and that's my final 2. I'm going to re-emphasize this by counting it in a different way. Let me move all those off of there. And so if I count it like this, I've got, those are all 8. So I've used up 24. This is how many I've used. The number that's the square is how many I have. So you can tell that I'm short. I've got 2, still have 2. And that's why they go here. Sometimes people will circle them even to emphasize them. You don't need to circle them, but they'll emphasize it. So I'm hoping that helps kind of clear that up. And of course the water is going to do it. I almost tell people to just memorize water because you're going to get water several times. And also kind of get used to drawing it like this. I'll explain why in just a second. I know you want to put the hydrogens across from each other, but just hang on a sec. So at this point, hydrogens don't need any extra electrons, remember, because they just have that one bond, and it's got its 2 electrons in there, so they're all good to go. But you'll notice that I have 8, and I've only used up 4 of those 8, so I still have 2 left. So I just throw them on that middle atom, and they do, again, it's going to come up in the geometry, but when you're drawing them, this is perfectly fine to draw it this way. It's also perfectly fine to draw it like this. I've seen them drawn like this for the Lewis dot structures. But this is where we are going to be heading with the information. All right.